Hey guys, TR here and welcome to my channel. Thanks for dropping by and spending time with me here today. So for this particular episode, I'm going to be talking about two of my most favorite games so far, which is Hearthstone and Oxygen Not Included. So what do you expect from this episode today? We're talking about the new expansion for Hearthstone, which is the Knights of the Frozen Throne, and what are we exactly going to expect. And I have to be honest, this is going to be one of the most exciting expansions I've ever been hyped up to in this game so far. So, let's talk about it more later on in this episode. Then next we're going to be talking about Oxygen Not Included. So we're going to be looking into what are the future updates and changes that they're going to be implementing into the game in hopefully the next 3 to 4 weeks. So I've seen the video from their Twitch channel, which was dated around July 28th. So hopefully they haven't put out any more updates from there on, but do take note that these are just updates, not meaning that they're finalized. So potentially there are still going to be changes, but I do assume that majority of those items that they discussed during that episode will be more or less going to be implemented in the final update, which is going to be in the next 3 to 4 weeks. So without further ado, let's get on to the episode. Alright, so we're going to be talking about the Knights of the Frozen Throne. Now, the main reason why I'm really excited about this particular update is that it's going to include a lot of things. Apart from having your Death Knight versions of your 9 hero classes, you're also going to get some solo quests, meaning you're going to have some adventure events as well, which is for free and which is fantastic. Because before, when they did the solo quests or solo adventures, it's a bit costly in my side because I don't really have that much gold to spend in order to access those tier levels that they're providing on a weekly basis. So I'm forced to sometimes just buy the entire tier levels that they're offering for the solo adventures, but now they're giving it for free. But in exchange, of course, they're going to give us 135 cards, which is fantastic. So the first exciting part of this expansion is, of course, the Death Knight versions that they're going to be giving, mainly because of the crazy hero powers that they're going to give out for these Death Knight versions. So the good examples that we have here would be Deathstalker Rexer. You're going to have a Build-A-Beast ability that's going to enable you to customize a zombie beast, which is great, meaning that you're going to be able to get certain effects, card effects, or abilities that each of the cards that are included in the Build-A-Beast hero power. So we'll see how far this skill can take us. Hopefully it's going to be one of those imbalanced, crazy skills that's going to be thrown out in the game, but it's going to be very unique, so it's going to be a lot of fun. Same goes for Jaina. So her hero power gives you Icy Touch, which means that whenever you try to deal damage and kill a minion, you automatically spawn a new water elemental. And the beauty about this water elemental is that it will give you lifesteal. And the kicker for that is that any elementals that you drop from here on forward is going to give you lifesteal, and that's insane. Pretty much sure that there's going to be a meta for an elemental Frostlich Jaina deck for this, just because for this specific card. We'll see. I'm pretty much excited, and I've seen that they've released Shaman so far, and I'm waiting to see what the rest are going to be offered. So it's going to be an insane meta this coming new expansion. Now, so what else have been shown so far that are exciting? So there are new card mechanics that's being experimented upon. So first off would be lifesteal. So this is kind of thrown around from some of the classes here and there, but at least the effect is going to give a bit more survivability to some of the classes. Now, they haven't released all of the cards yet, so we don't really know how far is the extent of lifesteal is going to affect the meta. But if they provided more cards with this particular skill set, I'm pretty sure that this is going to shake up even the arena meta itself, because the main problem with arena is that there's not much healing going around. So lifesteal is going to be something that can potentially change that meta, but of course it still doesn't take away Taunt as being the king in the arena meta. So the next mechanic that I'm a bit surprised to see is a discarding enemy card mechanic. So it has been added to one card so far, which is In Warlock, which what we call as Gnome Ferraru. So Gnome Ferraru's battle cry is that it will remove the top card of your opponent's deck. Now this is something a bit different. Its concept is similar to what Dirty Rat has, but Dirty Rat it's kind of summoning a minion from your opponent's hand. Well, on this one, it just eliminates it. So basically, it's eliminating a card from your enemy, which potentially can be a spell or potentially can be a minion or a strong minion. Hopefully, it's a strong minion or a spell. But worst case scenario, of course, you're throwing out a pretty bad card and you kind of wasted it and made your enemy's life a bit more better because they didn't have to walk through that non-effective card. For Arena, this is going to be fantastic, I would assume. For competitive play, it may see some play if we're facing against combo decks out there. So if there are those, then definitely Nosferatu may be able to contribute destroying the combo decks out there. But for Arena, in my opinion, I think it's going to be a great pick, especially for the battle cry, and the stats is more or less ideal for a 2 mana cost. Now, the last one that I saw that was quite surprising for me is disabling hero power effect. So this is something new that they've never done before in Hearthstone, and I feel this is something a bit more interesting to see, and I'm hoping that they will try to expand some of these mechanics into more cards, and hopefully we can see even more experimentation done in the future expansions. It's still, in hindsight, it's not as strong as we think it can be, but the experimentation, the effect is very unique and it has some potential in it. We'll see that in the future if maybe they'll try to throw out some better cards out there. But at the moment, I'm really hyped up. These cards are very interesting. I'm still waiting for them to release the rest of the cards, and I'm going to be doing another review for the specific Knights of the Frozen Throne set cards and how they're gonna fare in Arena. Now, with the current cards that have been shown so far, so what I've seen at the moment are as many as I think around 60 cards so far. So if they're releasing more cards from this day on forward, I'm not gonna talk about it up until they fully released everything else. But at the moment, from what I've seen so far, these are some of the cards that I feel are gonna be quite strong in the Arena meta. But the sickest card that I've seen so far is Archbishop Benedictus. I have to highlight this card because this card will bring so much value to your deck in Arena that you can literally copy the entire deck of your enemy, meaning that whatever they have on the existing deck at that moment. So if it's 23 cards or 10 cards, then you're just going to be able to copy whatever they have in that deck. So any cards that have been drawn out or in the opponent's hand, you will not be able to copy, but you can copy everything else, which is, insane. So if you're going to be Priest, definitely you're going to be picking this card if it's offered to you. It's going to be an insane deck, and it's going to be an insane fight. Same goes for the card for Warrior, which is Dead Man's Hand, which is shuffle a copy of your hand into your deck. So we're looking into value game in terms of playing Arena. So this card can be very strong if you're trying to value out your enemy. Now, of course, the card in itself is pretty useless. You have to combo this with a full hand, or at least you have 5 cards in your hand, maybe, and this card can be quite useful. Now, for the other cards, let's run through a bit. So the unique thing I also saw is the Ice Walker. So this is a 2 mana 1/3 card, pretty weak stats, but the effect is kind of interesting because it gives Jaina the hero power to freeze a target. Not only do you deal the 1 damage to that minion, it can freeze the target, and that is insane for Arena because you're controlling the board, and that's what's important in the game, and you're going to be able to do that with this specific card. So we'll see how this one fares in the Arena runs. Now, for the common cards or for the neutral cards, there are some interesting cards I've seen. Bone Mare, 7 mana 5/5, Balcry, give a friendly minion +4/+4 and taunt. That is insane. It's a pretty overpowered card in my opinion, especially in Arena where taunt is king. You're basically buffing any minion that you have on the board, a +4/+4 with a taunt effect, and that is insane. I have to say, when this card is offered to you, definitely have to pick this card. It's gonna save you probably many times in the game. Now, the next card is Cobalt Scalebone. Now, Cobalt Scalebone is something similar to the Master Weaponsmith. So the Master Weaponsmith gives +1 attack to a random minion on the board. This one, however, is a 5 mana 5/5 and gives a random friendly minion a +3 attack, and that is pretty insane, and it's a dragon. So there is some level of synergy, and stat-wise it's pretty decent for a 5 mana cost, but the effect is insane. This is gonna be very strong in Arena, so I would definitely pick this card if it's offered to me. Then another good card is Sunborn Valkyr. Now this card is a 5 mana 5/4 card. Valkyrie give adjacent minions +2 health. It's pretty strong because it's gonna give your minions a bit more durability and enables them to last longer and give more value in terms of trading with other cards. So definitely this is something that you have to consider when you're gonna pick. It's gonna definitely be good for any classes, especially for paladins, because of course paladins can summon minions, or shamans. This can be good for them. Overall, definitely a good card. And this sums up my initial perception of the new expansion. Definitely it's very exciting. It's gonna shake up the arena meta, definitely, with these cards coming out so far, and we're still waiting for the other half to come out, and I'm pretty sure it's gonna be a lot more fun to talk about this once everything has come out, and we can probably talk about how the arena is gonna be with this new expansion. So next up, we're gonna be talking about Oxygen Not Included. I personally love this game, but I have stopped playing it for a few weeks right now because I'm still waiting for some updates for them to actually throw out, and it's been over a month and there's still no updates yet on what are the changes, what's being done. So I went through some forums, I went to the Cloud Entertainment website. I have not seen any updates, so I went through their Twitch channel, and lo and behold, it was there, and it was in the form of a video where the developers were talking about what they're doing with the changes, and I've summarized most of the discussions that they've talked about in the changes. So hopefully I managed to gather everything out, and if I did miss anything, do let me know. Alright, so here's the summary of the July 28th stream. So what are we expecting in the next 3 to 4 weeks? So the additions that they're going to be putting into the game will be, number one, they're going to have diseases, which is being spread through germs. So they added a germ mechanic. As you can see here in the screenshot, you see the green stuff here. So these are germs that can potentially lead to diseases. So currently they have 2 types of diseases so far. One is the slime lung, and then the second one is food poisoning. So slime lung can be found in slime biome, and if your duplicate managed to contract this slime lung disease, your duplicate will have trouble breathing. And from what I've heard, the developers said that they're going to spit out slime, and that's going to cause a lot of problems. But I don't know if they're going to try to retain the slime effect, because I heard him mention that it caused a lot of problems when they were trying to test it out. But hopefully they have managed to fix that one out. So for food poisoning, however, this one is a bit more prevalent in your base, and most of it can be generated from your outhouses, so where your duplicates do their thing, right? So if you leave these germs to just spread, so your duplicates will be carrying the germs, and they can spread the germs all throughout your base, and it's gonna cause food poisoning in the eventuality of the development of the germs. So the developer said that it is your job to make sure that the germs do not spread. So they developed some machines to actually, or some buildings to actually mitigate the germ spread. So the number one item, or the number one building that you're going to be using quite often, will be wash basins. So as you can see in the screenshot, these are wash basins wherein your duplicates will wash their hands, remove the germs from what they contracted, for example from the outhouse, so that they won't be able to contaminate the rest of the base. This effect goes the same when you're trying to explore slime biomes, so you have to be also careful when you're entering slime biomes. So these spread germs as well. So you need to make sure that you also set up a water basin on your entrances for your slime biome. So this is no longer going to be as easy as we expect it to be. So it's going to be a bit more challenging than what we're looking at at the current build. Now, they also informed us that contaminated water that have germs in them can be cleaned out if you heat them up. So you can use the tapidizer to actually heat up the water and it will kill out the germs. So that's one way to kill out germs. Now, another new item or another new buildings that they've added in are the liquid bottler and the bottle emptier. So the liquid bottler is what you can see here. So this bottler is going to be used for gathering water resources. So you're no longer going to be doing the manual thing where the duplicants uses a hose and they put it in their back and they transfer the water out. Now they have this literal pump where you'll just pump water and get water from it. So it can maybe make life a bit more easier for your duplicants. I don't know if your duplicants can still gather water manually without using the liquid bottler, but I'm not sure about that one, but we'll see. Now the other one is the bottle emptier. So these are used when you have bottles of water that are scattered throughout our base. Sometimes our duplicants just forget about them and leave them there. So they can get that bottle of water and you can empty it out back to your clean water basin. Now this is also being used for cleaning out your wash basins. So if they have contaminated water with germs in it, the bottle inside that wash basin will be put into a bottle emptier and you'll extract all of the contaminated water and germs in that bottle. So it's another mechanic where you need to create another pool of contaminated water with germs in it, so then you have to clean it out with a tapidizer and so on and so forth. So it's a whole different mechanic and it's a bit interesting to see. But these are not the things that I'm excited the most. So later on, I'll talk about what I'm really excited the most. So the next thing they added would be immunity. So it's the same effect as, you're having your duplicants being strong against diseases. So they already have a scale or a number scale for this immunity effect. So some duplicants will be a bit more immune compared to other duplicants. So some are prone to more diseases and while others are not. Now, a new thing they also added will be plants, so like dust cap plants. So I don't have a screenshot of it, but they did mention that there are some changes that will be required to make these plants grow. So I'll talk about it more in the changes section. Now, they also added a new plant, which is called the light bug. So the light bug's purpose is to provide light, which will be required on some of your plants because of the mechanics that they change in terms of how to grow plants. And the most interesting part for me would be the ruins. So they already mentioned that there are ruins throughout the map, meaning that you will have lore, you will know bits of information on what exactly happened before and why are we here, why do we have these duplicates, why do we have this thing that pops out new duplicates in the base, and we'll find out what exactly happened before. Was there an epidemic? Was there a catastrophe that happened that destroyed everything? Now, next on, we're going to do changes. So farming has been changed again. So they completely removed the yield effects. So there's no longer excellent yields, good yields, or standard yields. It's completely removed. And now they added in a different mechanic, which is different plants will require different gases to grow, and some plants will require light or darkness to grow. So those are two different mechanics, and it's a bit more interesting to see. So some people have asked them, is this going to be a sustainable way of growing your crops? And they mentioned that yes, it's going to be sustainable. So I do hope that this new mechanic is going to be the one that stabilizes the food issues that we normally have in the game. So the next minor change that they also had will be the medicine cost will require two dudes to operate. From what I understood, one of the duplicates will be a doctor and the other duplicates will be the patient, and the doctor will diagnose the patient and whatnot and so on. So I'm not exactly sure how that works. Will the doctor prescribe pills to your duplicates and you'll go to the apothecary to create the pills for that patient? I don't know. Hopefully it's not that complicated. It's going to be very difficult to do. But in any case, it's nice to see that they made some changes to the medicine costs. And last but not least, for the future. So when I say for the future, it's not going to be included in the next update, or probably it's not going to be included in the next 2 or 3 updates, but I do hope that they added this in before they full release the game, or lift the game from early access. So they did say that they're looking into and they're gonna be probably working on events, and events meaning that there will be things like earthquakes, and that's so great. I've been looking for something in the game that can make you feel a bit more scared than what you have already at the moment, because in the current build of the game you already know everything and you're not afraid to explore, because there's no actual consequence when you're exploring the entire map. You're not gonna die from just exploring, and there's nothing to be afraid of. And with these new changes that they're doing, the germs, the diseases in the slime biome, you're gonna be a bit more hesitant going through those. And if they add in the events like earthquakes, it's gonna be insane. It's gonna be fantastic, and I'm gonna love the game even more. So yeah, so that's it for the time being, guys. This is what I've gathered so far from the video, and hopefully this information hypes you up with the next release of their updates in the latest patch, hopefully in the next 3 to 4 weeks, as they mentioned. I'm crossing my fingers on it. I'm really waiting for it, and I'm gonna be playing this game again once they do that. So that's it for now, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed it, and if not, there's a dislike button there that you can press. And again, hope to see you guys again in my future episodes. TR out.